Alright, so I just woke up. Um, so I look bad, but I do want to make a video about what I've been going through in my life right now. So, I, first of all, in the past 6 months, I've been through years of trauma. I still have so much more to undress, but it did take a toll on how I look. It aged me a lot. um, and it's sad because, 2 years ago, people were like, "You're so young for your age," and now they're like, "Well, you look a little bit older for your age," and yeah, it aged me a lot. But it's because like back then when I was like numb and not feeling anything, and like I feel like in a way it kind of like my emotions are froze, but I feel like in a way like aging and all that was froze because I don't know how to explain it, but I didn't mature and I didn't like feel anything. I didn't feel stress or anything. So I felt like I just like kind of stood still. And then on top of that, I was fasting. So yeah. But yeah, so I am coming out of collapse. The phase where, you did too much healing too fast, you get overwhelmed and you just collapse. I don't want to work. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do anything anymore. And my mom, she was like in the collapse phase, and then after that, like she was done. Like we went to the home, and then she like went crazy, got deported, and then was like just her life, like she just gave up. And it's crazy because everything I remember from her, I'm like just seconds of looking for her, looking at her and seeing her do something. Like I did that. Um and then like the collapse phase was the last phase I was with her, and I went to home. And so it's like, so in her collapse phase, like she just gave up and was like, I don't want to work, I don't want to do anything anymore. And she just gave up and just got worse. And for me, I'm like rebuilding. It was so crazy because I had like work and bills, and I just wasn't going to work. I just stay home and cry, and like so much emotions were just overwhelming me. And I like been talking to ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT has literally been my like lifesaver. Um, but I've been talking to that, and I talked myself into like understanding what the collapse phase was for me. Is like when, my body and my brain, my body's my inner child, my brain is my adult self. And so my inner child is thawing all these emotions, and I'm holding my body and trying to release them. But it's like, it's all these emotions are overwhelming my brain. It's too much emotions for my adult brain to process, and then it just overwhelmed both of us. But like, you know, my brain and my body, and then like I just collapsed. Like my brain wasn't logical. It was like thinking like in an emotional way. And so my body, I'm like suicidal, depression, hopeless, what is life, and then my brain is starting to like just like give up also. So it's like I don't want to go to work. I'm not pushing myself to go to work even though I have bills. For the past couple months, I've been like, my brother's been helping me with rent. But hopefully I'm gonna ask him it one more time this month, and then after that, I'm good. I think I'll be good for January because I like realized that it was just like too much emotions were thawing out too fast. It was overtaking my logical brain. And so I just stopped processing emotions and just really took time and like try to get my logical brain back online, back running things. And so I'm almost there. I have urges to call out from work when I go to work because I'm like, my logical brain's back there. My adult is back there, back up and running. Like, yeah, we need money. And So yeah, so I am coming out of the collapse phase. And I'm excited because on top of that, so you like heal, go through like 6 months of just crap. I can't look in people's eyes, I can't talk to people, I have no social battery. All of like my masking that I did that made me normal, like talking to people, being nice, like all of that like went away because like now it feels performative. So I'll walk past people like that I don't know, or like acquaintances, and I'll just go to, like, I won't say hi or anything because I just don't, like, my brain's not telling me to, because like it feels performative. Like I like if I don't have anything to say, so I just won't say anything. And like before, it was like when you walk past someone, you say good morning, you say hi, like, but why? My body's like, why? So I just don't do it. And so that feels better for me, but also it caused a lot of different, like, um kind of drama at work because they think I think I'm better than them because I don't talk to anybody. And it's just, I like literally call and I'll leave. And which I hate that, but it's like I mean, I can't have both sides. So it's like either I start talking, which I have no energy to, and it causes me more anxiety because I don't have a script for acquaintances. I don't, like, I'm not in a place where I can make friends right now because I can't keep them, so I don't try. And so it's just like, it's better if I just work, like, just mind my business, keep to myself in a way. But um yeah. But yeah, yeah, so I am out of like the whirlwind of all these emotions. I'm in like the stabilization and integration phase, which is the best part because like I'm starting to feel actual joy and happiness. I've never felt like, I'll just be sitting there thinking and it'll like bubble up in like my stomach, and I'll be like just a burst of happiness, and I'm just like, what the heck? But I was just like, oh, this is what joy feels like. Um which I never had as a kid because like all my emotions were just numb. And so yeah, I have that more and more often. um I wake up stabilized. I can feel myself stabilized and present. Before, like, anytime I try something new, I would have like when I first did my breath works, I would do like the breathing, and like I did that, and like I would cry after because it was like the breathing would like calm my body, but then because I was calm for that second, my body would push out emotions. So anything I would try, like for the first couple times, I would just be crying and like depressed because like that calm that I'm not used to, and I was like so backloaded of emotions that it would just be oozing from me. And so I remember when I did this, I had a breakdown. When I started to become present for seconds, I was present for like seconds. I'm like, oh, whoa. And then I'd go back to being dissociated. I'd have a breakdown. When I started listening to silence, just listening to the rain in my ears, I would just cry like immediately after. Just anything I did new, I would just like have a breakdown. When I first had like a good day, stabilization day like this, I was like depressed and suicidal for 3 days. And then a couple months later, well, I started feeling like this on the ketamine. So the day after ketamine, I'd feel so good, and I'd feel happy. Like, I'm like, what is this feeling? And then it's like days later, like I'd be like, for days I'd be like just out of it. And it was like every week I would have that one happy day, and then for the next 3 days I was just done. And yeah, and then it was like every time I would have a good day, for the next day I was depressed. Now I can have a good day. Like, I've had 3 good days in a row, 2 good days in a row. And now like I'll have emotions during the day. Like, yeah, last night I was depressed and crying, but I woke up stabilized. So it's like my tolerance is growing more, but and then my window of like these emotions is flooding out, or like, it's like maybe 30 minutes, and I'm depressed and sad and I go back to normal. So I'm really happy. I don't know if that means I'm completely like all the bad emotions are out of me, like the trauma from the past. I don't know if that was what it means, or it just means like I'm not like oozing out of like I'm not oozing of, 26 years of pain and whatever. Like it's not oozing out of me now. There's just like the normal amount that I can just, heal in little times. But I'm coming out of the collapse phase, which I don't know, I'm very excited about this year because I'm coming out of collapse phase, and my mom, it like took her out. For me, I'm like, it's slowly getting there, going back to normal. And then B, it's like every year I always I'm like, this is gonna be a good year just because I think it. Um, and it'd be the worst year. Like this year, I was like, this is gonna be a good year. And this year was the worst year of my life, hands down. November was the worst month of my life, hands down. I was like thinking about like unaliving myself all the time. I like on Thanksgiving Day, I was by myself, and I remember I just took ketamine. I was like, I have to. I cannot do with these emotions. And yeah, but I think that 2026 is going to be a good year because I'm making steps. Before I was like, I couldn't even like do steps. I was so like chronically offline. But it's like I'm stabilizing myself. I'm going through, like, I'm integrating, like I'm learning so much about myself. Like I'll sit there and think about like stuff's going on in my life. Why do I do this? Like, and I'll like get all this insight from myself, and it's like more stuff I can integrate. Um, and it's so crazy because when I was younger, I was like not thinking, like we did like the personality thing, and I was like the D, I think it's DICS. I was D, always dominant, because that was the only trait that they could measure me by. I was a dominant person, and that's because how I grew up at Hope. But it's so crazy because it's like the more I'm healing, the more I'm like going, like I'm like introspective, so introspective now, which I love. And like everything I'm doing, I'm like, why? There's always a reason behind, and I figure out what the reason was, why, more insight. And I love that about myself. And I'm sensitive on the outside, but I feel like eventually I'll become sensitive I'm sensitive on the inside towards myself, but I feel eventually I'll become sensitive on the outside. I think my personality is the S, the support. I think that I'll go all the way in there, which is crazy that trauma can like even like change your personality. I mean, if your personality is masking. So, but yeah, yesterday was also a very good breakthrough because just so much stuff I realized. Like I always wanted to associate it to cartoons. Up until like 3 months ago, I'd watch cartoons and I'd get depressed afterwards because I would want to associate in it, and I'm like, why? And I realized in the cartoons, they are carefree, they don't have responsibility, they have fun all day, they they are not like, yeah, I guess they're carefree and all that. And in my life, I'm like, I've got all these bills. I hate working, but I have to work, and it's just like my inner child, like my inner self, like watches those and wishes like that was like like my childhood. And which it wasn't. I at the first couple of years I was like was carefree, but it's like normal stuff for normal people, like schoolwork and stuff like that was like such a responsibility in my head because my thinking brain was like frozen, and like I just couldn't handle responsibility, chores, and all of that, like just normal everyday things that people do. It really weighed me down. And so I remember the first couple of years I was like happy because I just played all day. And I feel like I needed more years of just playing and just low stakes um responsibility. But in the children's home, like you grow up fast. So I didn't get that. And I when I watch shows, I hate I always want to dissociate because I want to live that life. And so I was like, well, I can definitely, if I work hard, I can give myself that life with just a low stakes life, low responsibility, you know. And I was just like, that made me happy. And then, like, I watched Avatar yesterday or a couple days with my sister, and usually I dissociate in that, and I realized that whatever I was missing or whatever I was missing in my soul, like, I seek it externally. So if I wasn't given love, if I feel like I'm not important, not seen in these movies, I dissociate, become the role, and then like the role of someone that's like loved, seen, cherished, a leader, and it's like I'll become that in my mind, um, and then I don't know, it like fills the gaps for that time, which is enough for me. So I dissociate in the movies and roles that I need, like I wasn't given, and like sensations I don't have. And so I realized that about myself, and then I was just like, after I realized that, after when I was watching it, like I wasn't dissociating. When I was watching the cartoon, I realized like, I can definitely give myself that life. I don't know, just realizing so much stuff about myself and like going forwards. Also yesterday at work, we're ordering food, but our supervisors have to get the food. So, no one got my food and everyone was eating, and I was so embarrassed to get up and grab my food because we're not supposed to. Our supervisors would, but because I'm not friendly to anyone, nobody wanted to get it for me. And so, I was like, felt really hurt at first, but then my brain was like, you treat everyone like crap. Obviously you're going through stuff and you don't have a social battery and people don't understand that, but it's like you can still be hurt and feel sad, but also take responsibility for the way you treat people. And so, yeah, so it's just like, this hurts, but I understand now, not fully yet, because I understand in my head, not in my body, but it's just like, you can't treat people unfriendly. I mean, I'm not mean to people. I just ignore everyone because I don't have a social battery right now. I don't know how to connect with people. And so I've been in the situation where I try to connect and I try to like follow all the cues of everyone around me. And then in the end, like everyone's like, this is the weirdest girl ever. And like that hurts even more when you try and you get rejected. So I don't try. I just ignore everyone. I go straight to my desk, I'll do my stuff, and I'll leave. And everyone there is like buddy buddy. They've been working together for 2-3 years, and so they think I'm better than them and stuff like that. But it's just like, even though I have a valid reason, to other people I'm unfriendly and cold. And so it's just like, you can't like give off that energy and then expect people to like do stuff for you. So that was a very like integration, that's stabilization and integration right there, because usually I would have like went home crying, like, like not realizing that this is the outcome that I created, this environment that I created. And before, I would have just cried and just saw that people were being mean to me, you know? And then as another thing is like, I thought they fired, for a second, I think they was going to fire me. And like, I was panicking. But I was like, you can't get mad when you don't show up to work, when you don't talk to anyone, when you don't really participate into this team. Like, if I was the supervisor, I would probably fire someone like me too. So it's like, even though I need the job and I'm praying that I don't get fired, I can't be like surprised if it does happen, because I'm not a good coworker. So, that also would have had me spiraling, panicking, and like, even that, like, I wouldn't realize that what I've done, I would just see what's happening to me. And so it's just like, I'm really growing, and I love that. And I am going to have a good year in 2026, not because I think it, and waiting for something to happen come to fall in my lap, but because I am actively changing my life. I'm stabilizing, I'm integrating. My thinking brain is back online. I'm coming out of the collapse phase with no support, nothing. And my mom, like that, she is a strong woman. She raised 5 kids with no, green card, no support, poor. She didn't have contraceptions, and she raised 5 kids, and the collapse phase like just was the last phase. It took her out. But for me, it lasted for a couple months, but it's like I am coming back online, and I am doing it by myself. So I'm not a weak person, and so I have no support. Like I'm like panicking about bills and stuff like that. But it's like I'm doing it. But I'm going to have a good year this year because I'm actively working on stabilizing and integrating myself. Also, I am going to figure out ways that I can give myself the life, or make steps to give myself the life I want. Steps, baby steps, not do it this year, maybe. I don't want to jinx myself, but it's going to be a good year because of that, because I'm making steps and I'm trying. And I'm happy about that. And I wanted to call out today, and I'm like, nope, we are not calling out. We're going to work. We're going to try to work 10 hours. I say we're. I know it's weird because people are thinking I'm schizophrenic, but it's like my adult self, and then my body, my inner child. Like my logical brain is my adult self, my body's inner child. I fight my body on a daily basis because like my inner child just wants to lay in bed and just watch TV and drown. Because like in order to change, you have to like have safety first, like in my body. Like I can't just like bulldozer over my body and like, get up, we're doing this and this. I've got to like I have to have safety. I have to do it slowly. And so it's been I'm getting there, but it's like you can't, you do something for 26 years of your life. You can't just be like, we're doing something different now. We're gonna try. It's like, yeah, right. But it's like I am getting there where I'm like learning to build safety to where I can, have enough support myself, because I mean that's the only support I have. I don't have anyone, but support myself to get out of bed, to go to work, even though I created this toxic environment again. But before, I would create the environment not knowing I created it, and then I'd be like, why are they like this to me, and like freak out. But now I understand that my toxic self, it it breeds toxicity. My black aura, it breeds, that darkness. And not like evil, she's gonna kill people, but like that dark and like innocent people. If I respond with my black energy and be like, what, I'm with black